To my greatest surprise, I got a call. Oh, hi, are you Wellington? Okay, I would like to have a discussion with you. And we're about 156 that applied for the role, and it was just one position. I was waiting to get back from them. And about 2 weeks later, I got back from them. I was like, wow,
Hmm.
this is wonderful. I may have said something that struck their interest, and they decided to go for me.
Hi, Osaghaee. I'm Aniket from K21 Academy. So yeah, first off, a massive congratulations, on your Azure Cloud Engineer role. That's really incredible, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join this Zoom call and to share your entire story. So let's just begin with a quick intro. Tell me everything about yourself, your entire background, and what you were doing before, before you got into cloud per se.
Yeah, so I've had a couple of things going on with me just before the cloud thing. I would say the whole dream of coming to Australia started around 2022. I left my home country in 2022 around June at about this time to study Master of Information Technology in Australia. Initially, I was in Tasmania, but I didn't like it there, so I moved to Sydney, where I transferred my study to University of Western Sydney. So, in the course of my study, we had a few courses that had to do with cloud computing, but it was majorly on AWS and VMware. So, well, it was taught a little bit. You know how it is when it comes to academic study, it's just on the surface, not deeply as we had during the course of my enrollment with K21. However, on 2023, I got a job as an IT support analyst. All along, my role has been IT support, IT technical support, or those kind of role, right? So I've had about 8 years work experience previously in my home country and about a year in Australia. But when the government removed full-time study right for students, so I couldn't get IT job anymore. It was tough because everyone wants either full-time or permanent part-time. And because of visa conditions, I couldn't get any of those. So it was rejection upon rejection every other time. So I just forgot about IT. I went into other kind of job that can give me money, like work in a warehouse and all sorts. So, but sometimes in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, maybe around September or October, I was just checking on how to get certifications on some area of interest. So, cloud computing came to my mind and I popped it in on Google. And right after then, I started seeing a lot of ads and all of that. And K21 was more persistent. So I just clicked on it one evening. Like, let me just see what it is. So when I clicked on it, I saw that, okay, they offer cloud computing and all other aspects of cloud computer and all that. Okay, I'm really interested in this. I've never really done anything on Azure. I'm familiar with AWS, but I didn't like AWS because it looks so complex, sort of, to me. So I didn't quite have interest in it. When I look at the Azure thing, and I registered for a free webinar. I did a webinar around 2023. I can't remember what date precisely, but during the section, it was quite interactive. I loved what I saw. And unfortunately, I just felt this is something I should have done even earlier. But tuition fee in Australia is as high as almost 15,000, about 18,000 per semester. You're paying that every 3 months. So you can imagine how you had to work. You had to go to class. You had to do your assignment. You had to pay your rent. It was a whole lot for me at the time. So I couldn't really afford the study during that year, 2023. The whole of 2024, I keep planning and thinking I could do it. I still couldn't do it because I didn't have the money. It was quite really tough. So finally, around December 2024, I got a couple of some money that I didn't know what to do with them. So it was just like some few thousands. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I have this plan on my diary. And I just looked through. I'm a very good planner. I like to plan a lot. If I have $100, I want to plan what it should be used for. So I don't just go to the shops, buy some nice sneakers or shoes or t-shirt or now. I love to firstly look at my professional development. So on that note, I decided to put a call through, and that's actually was the beginning of the whole thing. I got enrolled, and then I started the training. Initially, it was a bit complex for me, like having several notifications here and there. I don't even know which to answer first and all that. But at some point, I got on my study portal, and I started doing my hands-on learning. And from there on, it was progressive. I was getting support from the team, following up with the lab instruction and guides and all that. They were really very resourceful. The lot I have done while learning on the platform actually helped me a lot. I've never worked in any Azure environment or anything before, but this actually gave me a good beginning. Although I'm still learning even up to today, but still it has given me a great opportunity to begin to look at other job opportunities apart from doing IT support.
So before joining K21, you likely had other options as well, or was that the only one you saw initially? Like, what was your aha moment? Like, this one is for me, this program is for me, or something like that?
Yeah, there were a lot of other ads, like I mentioned. There were a lot of them, because when I Google it, I saw a whole lot. Some are in Australia here, some in this. I think K21 seems to be cheaper at the time, because some in Australia were charging about maybe $4,000-$5,000, and K21, when I look at the exchange, it was going to cost me about 3,000 Australian dollars. Like, okay, let me go for this. Yeah, I just hope the cheapness doesn't mean that it's a quack training, but to my greatest surprise, it was really, really, really very rich training, and I got enough hands-on. So K21 was like a choice for me.
How did you balance like working and learning together? Like, did you like manage to stay focused and consistent at the whole process, or was it a challenge that you had to overcome?
That was very tough for me, because the kind of job I was doing was more like a shift kind of job, which I don't really have any free time. I can work in the morning. When I see another offer of shift, because at youth support worker, I was more like I was working with multiple companies, just trying to gather money, and of course, don't forget, I was also paying for this training every month, and I've got family, I've got to pay rent, I've got to do a lot of things, so it was hard. But to be honest, I decided to take the bull by the horn, and my study time mostly was midnight, mostly picking up night shift or stay awake, so that by the time the kids are sleeping or the young people are sleeping that I'm looking after, then I open my computer and study all through till 6 a.m. So that was really tough for me. By the time I get home, I will have to sleep all day again, then get ready to go to work, and then do the same thing all through the night. So I actually decided that I was going to do it because I really want to see the end of it, So it was more of some kind of determination and wanting to get somewhere. So I had to put in those efforts to ensure that I achieve what the goal I have set. Because in everything, if you don't set goal, you may not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. For me, like I said earlier, I am still learning. I haven't fully grasped everything, but the much I have done, it's like a tool in my hand that I'm using, that I have used even up to this point,
So walk us through the entire like job application process that you have. Like, did you have to blast through a lot of resumes to different companies, or did you target specific ones? And is there any interviews that went wrong, like any horror stories that turned victorious at the end?
Yeah, I will start with job search first. Searching for job was firstly I was searching for IT support. I just felt I could be lucky one of these days, and each time I keep searching, just keep applying, it was just rejection upon rejection. But one day, after I had done up to like I think module 6 or 5, I'm not sure, yeah. So I decided that I would start applying to Azure role, or maybe something that has to do with Azure role, sort of. So I actually started, and the what was really striking is the fact that when I applied, I was getting a lot of rejection, which I wasn't sure why. But also, it was very funny that I didn't know there was some support I could get from the technical team at K21 at some point. But later on, I got to know that, oh, I could get some help with CV and all of that. So I got about 3 jobs, about 3 invites, no, 3 roles that I wanted to apply for. Then before I did the application, I sent my resume to the technical team, and they looked at it and like, okay, we are going to tailor your job description, your job responsibility to the job description of the employer. So they did that, and I applied to the jobs, and lo and behold, I got invited for interview. There is none of the CV they did for me that I used that I didn't get invited. None. I always get it. So, but then it falls back to during the interview, the discussion time, when they ask you what have you done in Azure, because I was still very on the surface of it. Most of the time, I don't really give them what they want to hear. So, and I am not the type of person that cram things, try to memorize things. I don't memorize things. If I understand it, I will discuss it with you. I will tell you how I understand it and how it works and how it doesn't work. So that has been my method of knowing things. I hate memorizing, because the moment I forget every other thing. So I did like 3 interviews like that. Yeah, 3. And then one actually told me that they were ready to they have a discussion with me, but it was about another location from here. They were asking, are you ready to relocate? And I said, yeah, I was ready to relocate in any way. But unfortunately, they never got back to me. I felt maybe they got somebody in that location, so I didn't bother. So 3 of them like that just went. I didn't get anything. But I kept on applying, modifying the CV and all of that. Then this one that I got, when I saw it, I immediately sent a message again to the team, and they look at it and say, okay, fine, we are going to modify your resume. But at this time, I had done up to module 9 or module 8, if I'm not mistaken. So at least I have got some very good background of Azure environment, everything, because what they were particularly interested in the role was someone with good hands-on in platform as a service infrastructure applications, and a little bit of infrastructure as a service and all of that. I'm like, well, this is what I've been doing, and this is okay. They mention function app, they mention web applications deployment and all of that. And because I have done a whole lot of hands-on labs on deploying web application and also developing some simple function app to automate shutdown of VM or sort of thing and some other thing, it was I was very confident that I could be called for the interview. But again, since I've always been getting rejection, I just casually, I just submitted the application after they did the resume and all of that. It was quite a good resume. So To my greatest surprise, I got a call. Oh, hi, are you Wellington? Okay, I would like to have a discussion with you. And it's just about 10 minutes walk from my house, the company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I told them, okay, I'm ready to come. What time, what date? They gave me a date, and I said, okay. So I went. So when I got there, before I went there, I had to research about the company thoroughly. I did a thorough research about the company, read more on what they wanted and everything. And before I went that day, I woke up very early, did some hands-on lab again, repeated the lab that has to do with creating storage account, file share, deployment of web application. In fact, I had to even use GitHub to do the deployment as a way of automating it through. I moved the code to the GitHub and then deploy from there. So, and also explain to them I was telling them that these were the things I was doing. I didn't tell them it was more like a training, but I told them, yeah, I was also undergoing training and all of that. So lo and behold, I was able to go through and they called me for the second round and we still discussed and everything. And after then, everything, I was waiting to get back from them. And about 2 weeks later, I got back from them. I was like, wow, this is wonderful. So it was one, dedication, consistency, and sometimes had to do it in discomfort. Like it wasn't convenient for me, but I had to do it because I knew it. I was paying for it. Yeah.
As we know, like a lot of people blame the current market, like of how the IT jobs are in general, or the cloud engineering jobs. How did you think like you did something different that cut through the noise and you got to land this role despite of the entire competition?
Yeah, initially it was more like I look at what the company really need. What do they want? So I tailored my entire preparation towards what they need. So it's possible that they are constantly deploying applications and they want someone who has that infrastructure as a service knowledge, platform as a service knowledge. Thankfully, they didn't say I must have a programming background. There was nothing like that. So which means they have a team of software developers. So all my responsibility would be to deploy this web application, set it up for ready to go for any developed or ready applications that they want to deploy. So, and they also talked about security. I also look at that critically, and immediately I had to go do that lab so that I will have something to talk about. Then, since they were very conscious about security, I also prepare my mind to ensure that the aspect of security, I have something tangible to talk about, since it was important to them. They talked about someone with a bit of knowledge with SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, something like that. But that was not very, it wasn't like, during the interview, they told me, look, we are not crazy about if you don't have any much knowledge on that, but we are very concerned about this aspect of Azure environment. So, and that was the aspect I prepare my mind. I know some persons who may have attended have certifications. I don't have any certification yet, but I've got the knowledge, the practical knowledge, which I feel may be of priority to some company than the certification, which is also good. Certification shows you have a good hands-on, you have a good understanding of the environment. I prepared my mind based on what the company required. Yes, I have other knowledge as per deploying virtual machine, configuring VNets, NSG, VPN connection, gateway, and all of that. I know all of that, but they didn't say they want people, they didn't mention all of that. So I didn't bother talking about them. I just focused on the things they said they wanted. And based on that, I did a lot of labs again, repeatedly, to understand the concepts. And that was what I used. So if they had gone through the entire people they interviewed, I'm very sure I wasn't the only person they interviewed. We're about 156 that applied for the role, and it was just one position. So I want to believe I may have said something that struck their interest, and they decided to go for me.
I noticed you talked about you preparing the hands-on labs regarding security. Did they help you revise your whole theoretical knowledge about it as well? And like in the
Yes.
interview, when you speak about it, like can you like tell from the interviewers like facial expression how much you know about, like how much they think you know about that topic? Did the hands-on labs and projects help you in that regard?
Yes, yes, it helps a lot because when I spoke about the Microsoft Defender for Cloud, it's a posture of the organization's security. It reveals what the security situation is about the organization, and with Microsoft Defender for Cloud, it gives you a lot of insights as to what you need to do, because there are times they make recommendations. You need to look at the recommendations. You need to see what you can implement with the recommendation. You need to see what is your security score, all of that. So I mentioned all of that. They were quite impressed that, oh, he has this knowledge, so he understands the environment. And then I also made them understand I have also deployed recovery vault services, which is for backups and all of that, but they also mentioned knowledge of backup and all of that. They asked me, why do you have to use key vaults? I said, for security purposes. And if you need to have access to any security, any keys stored in the key vault, you need to actually create an access for that. If you're deploying from DevOps because of course they also talks about DevOps, and I had to do the DevOps training and all of that before that. So I told them, you can either create the securities within the variable environment, or you access them through the key vault and all of that. So it helps, I must say.
Imagine if you're living in an alternate reality completely altogether. If cloud computing never existed, how different do you think your tech journey would be till now?
Well, if there was no cloud computing, I think I would possibly be working in IT, but maybe I would want to find a way to create an environment that feels like a cloud computing, even if it didn't exist actually. Yeah.
If you could go back in time, like 3 years, when you first moved to Australia, like what
Okay.
advice would you give someone, to yourself, that you know like would be really helpful, like based on how much experience you got till now, like studying, learning, and
Yeah. So my advice would be that if you have a destination, you need to plan. You need to begin to take the first steps. And anyone who has where he or she is going will definitely have a plan on how to get there. So for anyone who has interest in cloud computing, the best advice I can give is get a hands-on, get practical experience. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be working as a cloud engineer at the time, but get hands-on through training such as the ones K21 offers. And then I know a few friends who are very keen about certifications. I know a lot of my friends who already have certification, but they still haven't gotten the job. And I don't know why, So yeah, my advice would be get hands-on, know where you're going, be prepared to arrive at your destination.
So with this, the final question, this is just short of a small pun. So if your entire cloud journey was a movie, what title do you think would be appropriate for it?
Well, I would say my journey to a new world.
Okay.
I would call it my journey to a new world.
Okay, perfect.
Because cloud computing is a new world entirely for me. My journey to a new world. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So Osaghaee, thank you again. Your story right now, I swear, it's gonna inspire so many people who are either struggling or second guessing themselves, or who are just waiting to start.